Yo, so guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to be talking about Fabio Quartararo, the championship leader, the little Frenchman El Diablo, facing his worst track on the calendar. Obviously MotoGP heading to Aragon, the Aragon GP, Motorland Aragon, something along them lines I think the track's called. But we did get an interview from Quartararo where he was talking about the track, saying it was his worst track possibly on the calendar, not only for him, but it isn't also, one of the best tracks for the Yamaha bike with that massive long straight. Obviously for one lap, that's okay. Obviously in one lap, the Yamaha can make loads of time through the corners and then maybe, lose a bit in the straights and that. But in a race aspect, Aragon isn't the most ideal track to be on a Yamaha, although you could say the same honestly for Austria. I mean, most of that track is straights, but we saw Quartararo fighting for a podium there. So hopefully more of the same this weekend, because honestly, I am hoping that Quartararo wins this championship. I would like to see him win. I feel like he definitely deserves it, and he's done a stellar job this year. We've seen him be at the front every single weekend. It's been pretty ridiculous, honestly. I mean, he's been super consistent, absolutely carrying the Yamaha team. He's got all the pressure from Yamaha. He's the only rider, getting them points, getting them the glory that they need. And he obviously has the pressure of the World Championship. And we're heading to the worst track on the calendar for him. We did see him last year have a pretty horrific weekend, you could say. Obviously started well, got the pole position, but then dropped down like a stone in the race. For some reason, the consistency just wasn't there, and that is obviously what Quartararo talked about in the interview prior to the race weekend, saying that his consistency isn't quite there around this track, and also it's a pretty difficult track for the bike itself. Obviously that massive long straight at the back, before you head into the last long two lefts or one left, depending how you want to see it. It isn't the most ideal bike to be on in a race aspect. Obviously qualifying perfectly fine, one lap, who cares what bike you're on. But in a race, obviously when you've got all these other manufacturers around you, the poor guy's going to get absolutely eaten up and demolished down that straight. Obviously Yamaha being famous for missing a couple kilometers per hour for the last couple of years now. It's just becoming tradition to be one of the best bikes through the corners, or the best bike through the corners, but the worst bike for the straight lines and obviously top end speed. But I think it's going to be a very interesting weekend and challenge for Fabio Quartararo this weekend in Aragon, because obviously the pressure of the World Championship, there isn't that many races left, and it is obviously definitely Quartararo's championship to lose. I feel like it's going to be very difficult for any other rider to pull back that gap that Quartararo has in the World Championship. If he loses it, it's going to be because of him. It's going to be committing an error or crashing out somewhere or doing something that obviously doesn't want to do in one of these races. And Aragon, considering it's his worst track, it's definitely going to be a big opportunity for his rivals to try and claw back some points. You would hope, obviously if you're a fan of another rider, you would hope that they would beat Quartararo in Aragon, because the second we head off to Misano, I think it's a pretty safe bet that Quartararo will either win the race or be on the podium, because Yamaha goes really well around Misano, and Quartararo obviously very quick around there also. So I feel like it's going to be an interesting challenge. Aragon, like I said, last year we saw him have a horrific race in Aragon, absolutely nowhere, dropped like a stone down the order for some reason or another. And I feel like it's going to be interesting to see how it all kind of unfolds this year, because we haven't actually seen him have a difficult weekend, you could say. He's always been sort of at the front, dominating the practice sessions, getting the pole positions, winning the races. And obviously this weekend, in the first couple sessions, he was around P7, I think it was, almost half a second off the pace, which honestly you could say that the majority, of that gap is probably down that back straight, unfortunately. But we're finally kind of got a race weekend where we might not see Quartararo quite as comfortable as we have seen throughout the rest of the year. And I feel like it's going to be an interesting challenge for him to see how he kind of deals with the pressure and deals with the whole situation itself. Obviously, maybe, if he isn't quite where he wants to be, fighting for the podium or fighting for the race win, I feel like it's going to be interesting to see how he kind of, deals and handles you know, the moment, the situation on the Sunday, you know, whether he'll just bring the bike back, sorry, for points, and obviously fight another day, obviously when we head over to Bassano and that, or whether he'll over push it, you know, try to, you know, be eager to get onto the podium or win the race and maybe commit an error. Obviously very important things to judge in a race, especially when you're a championship leader. You know, you need to be intelligent and you need to know, you know, when to push, when not to push, and always bring the bike home. And I definitely think it's going to be an interesting challenge for the Frenchman, and I'm looking forward to see how it all kind of unfolds. I mean, you know, honestly, Quartararo, he can afford a bad weekend. You know, he has a good gap in the championship. He has a good little cushion, you could say, of points, and even on his bad days, which aren't exactly bad days, but on his bad days throughout the season, he's always pulled out a little bit of points, you know, even if it's just a couple points or whatever. You know, he's always kind of extended the championship a little bit throughout the season. So I feel like, you know, it's going to be interesting weekend in general, like just to see how it all kind of unfolds. And if it is his worst track, I mean, you know, he says it's his worst track. For all we know, you know, Sunday could come and he could win this race by 3 seconds, that we're doing this video for no reason. But, you know, it's going to be interesting just to see kind of how he deals with the whole situation. Because obviously we saw last year, you know, with the pressure of the World Championship, it started getting to him. You know, the later we went into the season, the worse it kind of got for him. And then this year we've seen, you know, a totally different Quartararo, totally different mentality, totally different way of working. And I feel like this is going to be a good challenge for Quartararo. You know, if he isn't quite where he wants to be this weekend, if he isn't quite as quick as he has been throughout the rest of the year, I feel like it's going to be very interesting to see kind of how he deals, you know, with that whole situation on the Sunday, and see how it all unfolds. Obviously, great opportunity for other riders. You know, when they hear it's his worst track, you know, they're going to want to take advantage of that and try and claw back some points, because if they don't start doing it soon, it is going to be pretty damn impossible, you know, to catch up to Quartararo. Because like I said, when we go to Bassano, you know, I think, you know, anyone could place a safe bet that he would be on the podium there, or even win the race. You know, Bassano and Yamaha and Quartararo, all those three kind of factors all combined into one is a very successful mix. And you know, Aragon, like I say, his worst track on the calendar, and possibly the first time this year that we might see him actually kind of struggle a little bit. I mean, we have seen him have a great, phenomenal year, super consistent. And then this weekend, he's a little bit lower down on the timesheets than what we're maybe used to seeing from Quartararo. But like I say, that could be down more than anything to the bike on that straight line. I mean, you know, 4 temps isn't exactly a lot of time. And, you know, I feel like a lot of it could be down, obviously, that massive long straight. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting, you know, just to see how the championship leader kind of goes about his business this weekend. You know, if he isn't quite up there, you know, will he over push it? Will he just bring it home and get the points and fight another day? You know, what's going to happen? I mean, honestly, I'm hoping it all goes well for him, because I would like to see Quartararo win this championship this season. You know, I definitely feel like he deserves it, and I feel like he's, you know, done a great job so far, you know, throughout the season. And obviously he has all the pressure from the World Championship, from Yamaha, you know, from his country, all the Frenchmen's getting all excited about Quartararo. So it's going to be very interesting. I want to make sure you guys leave your comments down below. How do you think it will all unfold for the Frenchman? I hope, you know, fingers crossed, it all goes well. And even if it is going to be a bad day, he doesn't really need to kind of worry about it, because he does have that nice gap in the championship, and he can just fight another day. But what are your thoughts on it, guys? Do you think Quartararo will have another successful weekend like the rest of the season? Or do you think we'll see Quartararo maybe struggle a little bit more, be a little bit further back, maybe get a little bit more eager, a little bit annoyed, maybe fighting riders which he isn't quite used to seeing, and maybe getting a little bit kind of vexed and flustered in the Grand Prix when he sees all these bikes, you know, flying past him down that back straight? What are your thoughts on it? Make sure down in the comments, leave a like and subscribe for more content as always, and I'll see you with some brand new videos very soon.